1862, $24. He got this $24 as commutation for his horse at the rate of 40 cents a day. He was absent that time, and he was still sick at Osborne's Ford. On April the 12th, 1862, this next muster was undated. It says he was last paid on July the 1st, 1862, and he died of disease at Castlewood, Virginia on July 27th, 1862. Next man here is William H. Garnett, or Garnett. He was a private in Company B, 4th Kentucky Cavalry. He enlisted on July 27, 1862 at Owenton, Kentucky. That's in Owen County. It's kind of northeastern Kentucky. He enlisted for 3 years. On December the 1st, 1862, he was present. He hadn't been paid. He had a $50 bounty due. That's like an enlistment bonus. On January the 31st, 1863, he was present. He was last paid on November the 30th, 1862. On February 28th, 1863, he was present for duty. On June 30th, 1863, it was reported that he was last paid on February 28th, 1863, and he died at Castlewood, Virginia on May 20th, 1863. This is Leroy White. He was a private in Company B, same company, 4th Kentucky Cavalry. He enlisted on October the 1st, 1862 at Lexington, Kentucky for 3 years. On October 31st, 1862, he was present and he had not been paid, but he was due a $50 bounty. On December the 1st, 1862, he was still present. He'd never been paid. He still was owed a $50 bounty. On January 31st, 1863, he was present. He had been paid on November 30th, 1862. On February 28th, 1863, he was present. On June 30th, 1863, it was reported that he had been paid on February 28th, 1863, but he died at Castlewood on June 9th, 1863. C.J. Eddington, I found out just recently, since we did all this, that his first name was Charles. Charles J. Eddington was a private from Company I, 4th Kentucky Cavalry, enlisted on September the 10th, 1862 at New Liberty, Kentucky. I believe New Liberty, Kentucky is either in Henry County or Owen County. It's right on close to the border. For 3 years, on November the 9th, 1862, he was transferred from Captain Pryor's company. Not sure what that means, whether it was another regiment or the same regiment. On November 30th, 1862, he was present, nothing paid yet. February 28th, 1863, he was present, and he was last paid by E.P. Crutchfield, no date and no amount. Doesn't say how much. June 30th, 1863, it was reported that he had been paid on February 28th, 1863, and he died June 16th at Castlewood. This is Henry Green, Henry B. Green, Private Company B, 4th Kentucky Cavalry. He enlisted on September 21st, 1862 at Mount Sterling, Kentucky for 3 years. On October the 31st, 1862, he was present but had not been paid. He had a $50 bounty due. December the 1st, 1862, he had not been paid. He was absent on detached service. His bounty had been paid. January 31st, 1863, he was present. Last paid November 30th, 1862. February 28th, 1863, he was present. June 30th, 1863, he was last paid February 28th, 1863. He died at Castlewood, Virginia, June 22nd, 1863. Now you might notice that these last four here in the middle were all in the 4th Kentucky Cavalry, and they died within 32 days of one another. These are placed in the order that they died. They all died within 32 days of one another, and their service records does not give the cause of death. A lot of times if they died of disease, it says so. If they died of sickness, it says so. Sometimes it'll say they died of wounds. These don't say, so we don't know. But it's very possible that these four men were in some kind of a conflict and received wounds and died here as a result of that. It's possible. This last man is kind of a stranger to these other fellows. He was here at a different time. This is James W. Johnson, private in Company D, Diamond's 10th Kentucky Cavalry. He enlisted on February 10th, 1863 at Piketon, Kentucky. Anybody know where that is? Pikeville. We could call it Pikeville now, but they called it Piketon back then. He enlisted for 3 years. On June 30th, 1863, he was present. February 29th, 1864, he was present. He had been paid on June 30th, 1863. On August 31st, 1864, he had been paid up to June 30th, 1864, and he died of sickness in Russell County, Virginia on March 1st, 1864. Now, I intend to leave these service records. These are the actual copies of the actual service records for each of these men that gives all these details. And if you don't know how to read cursive, you can't read these. I'm going to leave these with the property owner today. Do you have any questions for me? I don't know how many of you noticed when we arrived today, one of the men from the Ben Caldwell camp, Willis Strong, used the divining rods or dowsing rods to walk back and forth across here, and we estimate there's probably a couple of hundred men buried here. You haven't seen that in 18. Any questions? Thank you, Will.
Thank you. We're interested. This is something I've lived in Russell County all my life. Now, this is an important place. They take the fans out. This place I think come out the country. This part of the state. These borders, coast lines, and stuff. Did I leave any SCB tanks out?
Mount Harmon.
Mount Harmon, out of Castle County, aren't you? Appreciate you being here.
And Keeley, out of Bristol.
Out of Bristol,
Kentucky
Tennessee.
Division Adjutant Sam Hampton.
Sam Hampton, Second Division, also Major Colonel A.J. Knight.
We have our 68th commander here that just recently was elected, and he's over all Southwest Virginia, Mr. Bill Dennison. And we're glad and appreciate him. We'll let him take over here. We have Bill's going to get a meeting May the 29th, if I don't forget. Before us and before the war, before states began to secede from the Union, they were flying this flag. This flag flying before the war, they were having a secession meeting. They were meeting to decide what to do. They believed it. When Mississippi seceded, they run this up on the flagpole in the capital of Texas. An Irishman saw him run it up. He kind of got emotional about it. He wrote the song, Bonnie Blue Flag. This flag is this was the first national flag of the Confederacy. And if you look, it looks quite a bit like the American flag. That was by choice because the Confederates were Americans too. They were just going to secede from the other states, just like the United States did from England. Just a secession. And they considered themselves Americans, so they copied their grandfather started in the Revolutionary War, so they copied the American flag. Now, I think this one has got 7 stars. Seven stars, which was the original 7 states that started the Confederacy. Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. One more. South Carolina. The main one. But that was the Confederacy. They formed the Confederacy. And this was the flag that they chose. And they chose Jefferson Davis as the president. And the states all voted to secede. It wasn't something that some radical people did. The people decided that's what they wanted to do. But you'll see different variations. You'll see 7 stars. You'll see 13 stars. You'll see 11 stars. But different variations of it. But this was the first nation for the Confederacy. Now later, Virginia North Carolina, Arkansas, and Tennessee, when Lincoln asked the troops to force the Confederacy back into the Union, they said no. So they seceded. So that made 11 states that seceded. Kentucky and Missouri both had governments in exile. They waited too late to secede in the United States. The government, the soldiers occupied it. So they were actually occupied. But Kentucky had their government was right around here at Abingdon, Virginia. That's why you had John Hunt Morgan and all of them down in this part of the state, because their government was down here. And another thing I want to say about our Kentucky brothers, while most of the people from this part of the state was off with General Lee, there was nobody here to protect this part of the state. So the Kentucky men, Breckinridge, and all of them, they protected Southwest Virginia. So there's a strong bond between the Virginians and Kentucky in this part of the state. But that's the First National. This is the Second National flag. People said, well, that looks too much like the American flag. The American, the Union's down here attacking us and causing and bringing war to us. So we don't want nothing to do with our flag. We don't want it to look like our flag. So they created their own flag. Oh, and this one, this is what's called the Stars and Bars. A lot of people think that the battle flag is Stars and Bars. This is the Stars and Bars. It's got stars on it, it's got bars. And the battle flag is the Southern Cross. But they call this one the Stainless Banner. And it's just a snow white flag with the battle flag in the corner of it. This draped the coffin of Stonewall Jackson. And if y'all saw the movie Gettysburg, you'll see that they've got this is the flags a lot of them are carrying. Because it was becoming popular about 1863. So this was the Second National. But a lot of people said, well, when the wind's not blowing and when it's folded up, it looks like a flag of surrender. So they created the Third National. It wasn't in service very long because it wasn't long before the war was over. But it's just a Second National with the red stripe down the end of it. So they called this one the Stainless Banner. They called this one the Bloodstained Banner. And so I guess this is the official flag of the Confederacy when they surrendered. This was the official flag. So I guess those of us that still love the Confederacy, I guess this is our national flag. Dear old Virginia, mother of presidents. You know, Virginia, like I said earlier, they didn't jump into secession. They were slow about it. They were satisfied to stay in the Union. They thought that if the southern states wanted to secede, that was their right to do that. But when Lincoln called for troops, they said no. We're not marching our men to terrorize other states, and they got a right to do that. So Virginia joined the Confederacy. With all this controversy over the battle flag and all things Confederate being evil, I look for any day for them to jump on the Virginia flag, because a lot of them boys carried it in the battle. And it actually shows this is not Miss Liberty, this is Miss Virtue. Miss Virtue is different than Miss Liberty up here in New York Harbor. Miss Liberty says anybody that wants to, come on. You come and live in free. Anybody that wants it can come and have it. Miss Virtue says if you want to live free, you got to fight for it. So you can see right there, she's got a tyrant and she's standing on his neck. I guess Virginia is the only state flag that's got a picture of somebody just killed somebody on it. But that's what happened. And the state motto is Sic Semper Tyrannis, which means thus ever the tyrants. And so I'm real proud of that flag, and I'm proud of Virginia, and I'm kind of ashamed at the way we've been going here lately. But we've got so many people that's moved in from north, and there's so many of them that they're kind of controlling the politics now. And hopefully that'll come to an end. There's the grand old flag. If you don't care, bring that flag right there. This is the actual battle flag. It's a square. What the reason they built this flag, remember I was talking about how the stars and bars look like the American flag? During the Battle of Fort Manassas, a lot of times at a distance they couldn't distinguish one flag from another. So General Beauregard and some others thought they would make a flag for the soldiers that they could distinguish. If they seen that flag, they know it was Confederates carrying that flag. So they came up with the battle flag. Now this is a square. Nowadays we see a lot of rectangle flags. There were some rectangle flags, especially in the Army of Tennessee, but mostly the Army of Northern Virginia carried this square flag. And I'm guessing probably to save on material because the South was hard up for any kind of material. Women made these flags out of their wedding dresses and everything else. But this has got Southern Cross, it's got 13 stars. That's for all the 11 seceded states, and Kentucky's got a star on there, and so does Missouri. So they had, like I said, they had states, they had governments in exile. So we know now that everybody says this is an evil flag, and the Klan, flies this flag. Well, they fly the American flag too. I don't remember giving the Klan any permission to use our flag. This flag belongs to our ancestors. This flag belongs to the sons of Confederate veterans. This is nothing to be ashamed of. Don't let people tell you, don't let Yankee teaching tell you what an evil, terrible flag this is. This is a flag of pride. This is a flag that people fought under, they died under. They love this flag. And many of them at FMX, they tore this flag to shreds and carried pieces of it home with them. They love this flag. The Yankees hate it. Anybody that likes freedom hates it. When they tore down the Berlin Wall, what did you see? A big rebel flag up there waving. It's a flag of rebellion. It's a flag of independence. So don't let people put down the flag. Stand up for it every chance you get, because this is a flag of pride. Thank you. All right, Tom, come up here. Don't do it back there. I want you to listen to this poem. This says a lot about our flag.
I am their flag. In 1861, when they perceived the right to be threatened, those who would change the nature of the government of their fathers were placed in charge. When threatened with change they could not accept, the mighty men of valor began together. A band of brothers, native to the southern soil, they pledged themselves to a cause, the cause of defending family, firesides, and faith. Between the desolation of war and their homes, they interposed their bodies, and they chose me as their symbol. I am their flag. Their mothers, wives, and sweethearts took scissors and thimbles, needles and thread, and from silk or cotton or calico, whatever was the best they had, even from the fabric of their wedding dresses, they cut my pieces and stitched my seams. I am their flag.
On courthouse lawns and picnic groves, at train stations across the South, the men mustered and the women placed me in their hands. Fight hard, win if possible. Come back if you can, but above all, maintain your honor. Here is your symbol, they said. I am their flag. They flocked to the training grounds and the drill fields. They felt the wrenching sadness of leaving home. They endured sickness, loneliness, boredom, bad food, and poor quarters. They looked for me for inspiration. I am their flag. I was at Sumter when they began in jubilation. I was at Big Bethel when the infantry fired its first volley. I smelled the gun smoke along Bull Run in Virginia and at Belmont along the Mississippi. I was in the tobacco at Fort Donelson. I led Jackson up the valley. For 7 days I flapped and the turgid air of the James River bottoms as McClellan run before Richmond. Sidney Johnson died for me at Shiloh, as with thousands of others whose graves are marked Sign on the May, without a name unknown. I am their flag.
With ammunition gone, they defended me along the roadbed at Manassas by throwing rocks. I saw the fields run red with blood in Sharpsburg. Brave men carried me across Doctors Creek and Perryville. I saw the blue bodies cover Mary's Heights of Fredericksburg. And the gray ones fall like leaves around Forest and Stone's River. I am their flag. I was proud for the body of Stonewall after Castlewood. I know the thrill of victory, your defeat, bloody cost of foe, and both sides. When Longstreet came, broke the line at Chickamauga, I was in the lead. I was the last off Lookout Mountain. Men died to rescue me at Missionary Ridge. I was singed by the wildfire that burned to death the wounded in the wilderness. I was shot to tatters with a bloody ankle in Spotsylvania. I was in awe from Dalton to Curie Creek. No worse place did I ever see than Kennesaw, New Hope Church. They planted me over the trenches at Petersburg. There I stayed for many long months. I am their flag.
I was rolled in the blood at Franklin. I was stiff with ice at Nashville. Many good men bid me farewell at Sailor's Creek. Near the end came at Appomattox. When the last Johnny Reb left Durham Station, many of them carried fragments of my fabric hidden on their bodies. I am their flag. In the hard years of so-called Reconstruction and the difficulty and despair of years that slowly pass, the veterans, their wives, and sons and daughters, they loved me. They kept alive the tales of valor and the legends of bravery. They passed them on to their grandchildren, and they to their children, and so they pass to you. I am their flag. I have shrouded the bodies of heroes. I have laid the blood of martyrs. I am enshrined in the hearts of millions, living and dead. Salute me with affection and reverence. Keep undying devotion in your hearts. I am history. I am heritage, not hate. I am the inspiration of valor from the past. Look away, Dixieland. I am their flag.
I got a little ahead of myself, right? There's a couple other flags here that I didn't do. We had somebody that brought a Hardy flag. That was in the Army of Tennessee. If I'm not mistaken, his company. Attention! Shoulder hard. Without doubling. Right face. Up.
Company, halt!
Dress your line up.
Front! Order! Arms! Fix! Bayonets! Parade! Rest!
Well, we're now going to have a reflag. First one is from James McElhenney Camp 840. The next one comes out of Tennessee. It's OCR Chapter Wild Mountain Roses from the Elizabeth and SCV Cavalry.
Company, attention! Shoulder, arms! Present, arms! Company, shoulder, arms! Order, arms! Parade, rest.
The next item on the agenda is fire the balance.
Company, attention! Load!
If you misfire, do not reload. If you misfire, do not reload.
Company, ready! Aim! Fire! Recover! Arms! Load! Company, ready! Aim! Fire! Recover! Arms! Load! Company, ready! Aim! Fire! Recover! Arms! Order! Arms! Parade! Rest!
We'll now have the presentation of the flag.
George knows where Dave is. George.
Company, attention! Shoulder, arms! Present, arms!
That wasn't much of a presentation, Jimmy.
Company, order, arms.
Well, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away. In Dixieland, where I was born, early on one frosty morning. Look away, look away, this way. And I wish I was in Dixie. Hooray, hooray. In Dixieland, I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie. Away, away. Away down south Dixie, away, away, away down south Dixie.
Before we have the benediction, I'd like to say, as the new 50th Grade Commander for Virginia Division, it was a distinct pleasure and honor to be able to represent that. How proud I am that members of the Congress, gentlemen of the 50th Grade, really called the Congress for putting this on. This is what we do. This is why we are.
Three cheers for Ben. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Company, attention! Uncover!
Well, thanks again, everybody, for coming out today to honor these men. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we thank you for these men who represented so much of what's great about America. We ask you to be with our soldiers today and our men and women overseas, our first responders, firemen, that work so hard and give up so much to protect our lives each day, Lord. We just ask you, wherever they're stationed, to bring them safely home to their families. And be with each one of us as we travel back to our home. Protect us as we travel on the byways of life. In Jesus' holy and precious name we pray.
Amen. Company, attention! Unfix bayonets! Company, dismissed.